Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm Mahbub, volunteer of School of Entrepreneurship Development. Today, welcome to our session, Meet the Global Leader, which is organized by School of Entrepreneurship Development, which is a non-profit organization based in Bangladesh. What it is trying to do is sharing the information and knowledge through this platform among university students and small and medium entrepreneurs so that they can get access to information and funds, resources through this platform. So we invite speakers from different countries, professionals from different countries to share their journey from their campus to their professional life, their lessons they have learned, and the skills they developed, and how they use how did they use some skills in their professional life, and how they develop those skills, and some advice for the students. Today, we have invited Alekha Advani, from founder of Waywell. She was in service industry for more than 7 years. So, Alekha, welcome to our session.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Okay, can you share a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I've grown up in Bombay. I currently live in Mumbai. I went to school here in Mumbai. My whole life has been here. And I applied to different universities in the United States, different colleges. And I was always very passionate about hospitality because that is the industry that my family has always been in, and they've for generations and generations, and that's always been my passion as well, just because of, I guess, because of my family, but also because I was always always a people's person, always wanted to uh, be around people, make people happy, make sure they have a good experience. So I got into the college of hospitality in Michigan, Michigan State University first. I went there straight from Bombay, and it was in the middle of nowhere, like literally in the middle of Midwest United States, which is very different to Mumbai. The change from Mumbai to Michigan was very different transition. There's so much snow. It was crazy weather. Completely different kind of classes, different sort of education system. And I studied a lot there, from like economics, finance, restaurant management, all of that in all related to the hospitality space. And then I wanted to transfer to a different university to be in the best university for hospitality. So I moved to so I transferred, and I worked really hard. After my first year, I transferred to Cornell University, which was the best hotel school in the world. So that was a lot of hard work. It was a lot of time, a lot of time spent studying in the library and talking to fellow students, and a lot of people did not was not were not on the same page as me. No one wanted to move. No one wanted to leave. Everyone was happy where they were, and so for me, I was kind of on my journey a little bit on my own. I would go out, have a good time, meet new friends, but then I realized that I wanted to. I realized I needed to move out of this university because there was too much socializing and too much of a party life. So I decided to really work hard and keep my head down and just stay long hours in the library, and decide to try to move to this other university at Cornell. So that was not easy either, but hard work was one thing that really helped me move, and I did extremely well. I My first semester was very difficult, but my second semester I got a 4.0 GPA, which was, their system was totally different from our Indian system here.
Yeah.
And so that was great. But also because I went to Cornell, actually, I visited the school, I visited the campus, and I went and actually had interviews set up and meetings set up with multiple different professors, as well as the dean of the school. So that gave me a really big edge over other people who are applying as transferred students. So just going there and kind of like just getting their attention, charming them, talking to them, showing that my level of maturity had changed, being 1 year already in the United States, already in a college with their system, and where there wouldn't be a big transition period. For me, it would just be like transitioning from one college to another. And of course, transferring is difficult when you're in college already, because 4 years you should be in the school from the beginning to the end. In the United States, like, you in the colleges there, because it's easier. You have the same friends, the friends grow with you. You realize what you want to major in. You realize what kind of classes you want to take, what kind of alternatives and electives you want to take. But I just felt that having that stamp of going to a school which is going to be, better for me and benefit me in the long run, was more important than being in the same university, just because I had made friends in this university. So I'm really glad that I moved. It was a really, really difficult thing, but like I said, it was like the best hospitality school in the world. So I mean, I had to put a lot of work in, and like I said, meet a lot of also students and professors from the university to actually move there. And I'm really glad that I did.
Definitely, like like most of so many students are going abroad to do their bachelor or masters in different subjects. So for like people like we are kind of similar, India, Bangladesh, in some ways. uh, when you go abroad, the thing that you mentioned earlier, that like different things like snow, weather is different, culture is different. So how students, I mean, who are watching and going to watch, and after going abroad, how they can like as you studied there, you have experience how like they can adapt with the new culture, and like the weather also as well, according to you.
It's definitely a challenge. It's definitely not going to be the easiest thing, or something that we look on TV and social media today, what it presents to us. It's not as simple, because our cultures are completely different, and because our way of living is completely different. The way things work over there is totally different. Even the weather, of course, is totally different. So, of course, coming from countries that are where we are in the Indian subcontinent or the Asian subcontinent, where we are, it's completely just it's totally different to where you're going to go if you do apply to colleges in America. So, to prepare for that, I wouldn't say like, oh, expect what you see on TV. I wouldn't say that. You can take inspiration from it, but it's never going to be that way. It's always going to be difficult, and a little bit difficult in the beginning. Like, I remember on my first weekend, I was very upset being there, and I was crying, and I was homesick, and I didn't want to be there, because the friends I made already had their own group of friends, because they came from homes not far away from the school. So the college was like, more south, and they maybe came from 2 hours away drive, 3 hours away drive. Here I was commuting, we commuted 20 plus hours to get to Michigan, and to get to a city called Detroit. And then from Detroit, you had to drive 3 hours to Michigan State University, which is in a little small town called East Lansing. So it was like in the middle of nowhere. And I mean, even though I knew, I traveled to America many times, I knew what to expect as such, but I didn't know what it would really be like. I also wasn't used to what it would really be like. And I had no friends there. I had to make the friends from the beginning. And all new students at the time are all trying to make friends and trying to learn and trying to like spend time with each other, to know who are they going to be friends with at the end of the day, who is going to be their group or their circle or whatever. So the thing is, it's going to be a little bit challenging, I mean, in the beginning for sure, but once you spend time, you'll realize who is your friend, okay, and who is not your friend, who is someone you can study with, who is someone that will help you with notes if you miss a class, because you're sick or something, so you have to do something else. Who can advise you? There's a lot of role models in these colleges. You have like teachers assistants who will help you through classes, because if it's difficult for you to understand their system of education, at least you have someone, um at least you have someone to actually not to actually be there for you and guide you through it. So it's somewhat it's a challenge, but at least you have some kind of resources, right? Then you have study groups as well, so people who actually, there's study hours that for a class that you're doing. So it's a difficult class for you, they always will give, the teacher's assistants will always give some kind of study hours where they can help you with the homework. They'll help you and explain things to you a little bit better if you don't understand a concept from the class. Things like that always work. And then, like I said, you'll always meet people who are in the same classes as you, and you form those kind of study groups on your own. So with time, things are always easier. I think it's important to just keep your eyes on the bigger picture and be patient, because the beginning, like I said, is always a challenge, because you still don't know who your friends are, you still don't know who you can depend on, you still don't know who you're going to spend your quality time with. And it's important to know that you should not get very dissuaded by getting a bad grade in a class or not doing well in a project. It's all a learning, and the teachers usually are very understanding. So if you can't do something, or you've done something that's not up to the standard of, when you failed or you've not done super well, they are actually very, very, very helpful themselves. Like, they'll give you an opportunity to actually hopefully do it again. My professors were like that in college. They gave me an opportunity. If I had to miss an exam if because I was sick, they gave me an opportunity to do it again. They gave me a totally different exam, compared to the rest of the students. So things like that, I think I find, even though it was more challenging for me in the way, the way you actually, the studying and the way of education that they have over there, it's actually, they are the resources and the professors are a lot more helpful. So they make it a little bit more helpful. They give you resources, like I said, with the teacher's assistant, the hours of study, any kind of project that you have, you need help with. All of that assistance is given to you if you ask for it. You just have to be very upfront and explain your positioning, communicate what you're feeling or what you're going through, and they would actually provide you with some concession. So that is an important thing to realize, that in our system over here, we have never been taught that, oh, we can get a concession over here, in at least in Bombay. I never got a concession for going late to an exam, going late to school. We had some issue or the other that we experienced because we weren't able to make it to that class or make it to that exam on time. Like, we never got the exemption to do the exam later. We had to do the exam then and there. If you were sick, not sick, studied up all night studying, some kind of issue in the family, it never really there was never really something that they could help us with, right? So I think in the US or even the UK for that matter, they do give you concessions, they do give you exemptions. We just have to communicate it, and we don't have to be afraid of the authority. The authority figure over there is not somebody we need to be afraid of. We have to respect them, but there's nothing to be afraid and get scared and say, oh, but I can't ask this, and I have to go through with this exam, even though, I'm not feeling good and I'm unwell, or I wasn't able to finish something by a deadline. So we just have to be very upfront and honest about what we're going through and communicate that clearly to the teacher's assistant or to our friends or to the teacher itself. And that way, they really can help us. And what they do over there, one more thing that I'd like to say is that they really do respond really promptly on email. So if you're going through something, you send them an email, they almost immediately respond the same day or within 24 hours. So that way, it's a big benefit to you that that professors will communicate with you on email like almost immediately, so that way you're not feeling like, okay, I'm not able to complete this, I'm not able to do this. So how do I tell them? Do I go to the exam hall tomorrow morning and then tell them that I can't give the exam, but I've made it to the exam hall? No, I mean, you can communicate via email, and they will help you, they will respond to you. Like I said, you just to be open and honest about what you're going through, what you're feeling, or what has happened. And and then obviously you don't have to can't do it more than once or twice. Like, as long as you have a really a very viable reason why you could not do something, or you could not deliver within the specific deadline, then I'm pretty sure they're very understanding. So um of course, you get used to the weather as well. You have to just bundle up and get, if it's a cold
Yeah.
area. You have to bundle up and get warm clothes. Is it cold in Bangladesh too? Does it get very cold?
No, basically below 5 or 6 degree
Hmm.
Celsius.
Wow, that is
Sometimes
cold.
like aged people dying sometimes because it's
My
uh,
God.
yeah, it's because we cannot even like bear with the 6 5 6 degree. So it's like 14 15 now because of global warming. Last I think in winter we are going to forget this season. It's
Yeah.
like one
Yeah.
month and just
Oh
again
God.
summer and summer, summer and summer. So
It's when it's cold. I mean, if you're used to the cold, then but it does become colder than that over there. So just
yeah,
to be very, you have to be very careful, take care of yourself, and not. And over there, the way it works when you're unwell, there's of course, um, you end up, as a student, you do end up getting insurance, and so medical insurance, and you
yeah.
have to get that, of course, as a student. And the nurses there and the clinics there are very helpful when you get unwell. So that's another thing. And the weather, of course, just to be
Yeah.
aware of it too. And yeah.
Great. When you were studying there, were you involved with any apart from study activities? I mean, part time or volunteering activities?
So yeah, I think that builds a lot of community when you're part
Yeah.
of an external volunteer activity, because that builds leadership and also builds community and also builds relationships. I was part of a lot of groups. There was like an Indian society where they would do like certain dances, like some dance group. I helped volunteer with certain like events with that. I was actually at Cornell. I was actually part of a entrepreneurship group, which I found was very beneficial because we joined when we were like I think in our second or third year, and then we ended up. I ended up being the president and the vice president and the treasurer in my senior year. So and with that we actually grew very close to each other, and I got to know a lot of other leaders um, through this a lot of other leaders through this, and I those relationships I have forever now, and I can still kind of count on them. But yeah, we actually hosted a lot of really good events. So we would host restaurant events. We would have a one night pop up of a restaurant, and we put together an entire restaurant concept. uh, Spanish tapas was one, and a second one was a Japanese concept. It was amazing. We invited a lot of people. It was a secret location, all of that. And it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. So we actually ran a restaurant for one entire day with two seatings. I think it was like 50 or 60 people that came, and they bought a ticket to be part of it. So that was great. It was also, we didn't make money or anything, but it was just to cover the cost. And it was a lot of fun. You build a lot of relationships with your fellow school students, and people who are passionate about the same things that you're passionate about. And you have someone who tomorrow has a skill of being the finance person, so they're able to put everything in the budget, and there's somebody else who is able to then maybe run the restaurant and the operations that you have at the restaurant. So everybody grows their skill of what they're good at, and they find what they're good at because they're part of outside groups. And I think that really builds your confidence. It builds your leadership skill. It builds what to understand what you like versus what you don't like. If you don't like something and you're not good at something, that's okay too. It didn't work out for you. You're not good at, maybe you're not good at a good finance, manager. Maybe you don't know how to take control of the budget. Maybe you go way over the budget. So that way you also find out what are you not good at versus what you are good at. So that's a really important thing. And you build your network, which is an even better thing, because you end up by the third year you're so comfortable in your group, you don't meet anybody else, you don't sit next to anybody else in your class, you sit next to the same people, you take the same classes with your friends, and you stay in that circle. So it's important to branch out every time, every year in college, because you never know who kind of will make you learn something different and will impart certain knowledge to you, or certain culture to you. They could be from Ecuador, they could be from Havana, Cuba, they could be from Europe somewhere. You never know. So it's better not just to be only in the same culture and the community that you are already from. It's very important to cross pollinate and meet people from different backgrounds. That enriches your experience. You're going to college somewhere else for a reason. You're not going there to stick to the same people who you know from the same country or from the same background as you. It's important to have those friends for comfort, but it's important to learn from other cultures as well.
Wonderful, nicely put. I mean, uh, university students mostly what happens is they invest their time in like wasteful activities. I mean,
For sure.
unproductive things most of the times they do. That's why we're number third on using social media like Facebook. Uh, we're number third in like spending so many times after Facebook doing unproductive things. So keeping that in mind, it's going to cost us as a country because like skilled labor we are not getting it as
Yeah.
much. So according to you, like who are in its university students right now, why they should engage themselves more and more with some apart from study activities? It could be part time, it can be volunteering. Can you suggest why they should like one or two top factor why they should engage with volunteering activities, how it can benefit them?
I think volunteering is very important in any activity. It's if you want to do any activity at all. I think any interest that you'll have, like for example, if you want to learn something more, or you're good at something, or you're good at a class, you volunteer it as a teacher's assistant. That way, you end up getting good recommendations from your professors for a job. You actually get the best recommendation letter, because the teacher would remembers you because you volunteered with the class. You volunteered to teach students, and you've met more people through this network of yours. You're building a network now, a bigger network rather. Volunteering outside with the community work, it could be something that you have some passion for. maybe it's a maybe it's like a cat rescue or a dog rescue or some animal shelter. I don't know. You could be passionate about that, and it sometimes it's so nice to just continue your passion where you have that, because you never know what you're going to end up doing. Today I am a founder of a wellness company, and we provide wellness experiences and services to communities, to companies, to brands, and to individuals. When I was in college, I didn't really do too much in this space, but I took a global spa class, and that class was very interesting, and I ended up volunteering for it as well. I ended up volunteering for a project in that class. That class, we ended up taking the other students in the class to a very famous spa in the US, and it was very interesting. So I just volunteered helping to organize the group, and to organize, help with the budget, the group, the transportation. And it was very important because today I organize a lot of events. So even getting that little bit of experience through the spa class, it was related to wellness that I'm doing today. But just through that field trip that we did, it was so important to volunteer there, because today I'm organizing a lot of events and experiences. So for me, I understand things click in my head like it would not click in somebody else's head. It's very simple for me to think of numbers. How will people fit? How do we go from one place to the other? What is the budget? How much petrol will the gas need? So what is the cost of that? So all of that in my head is actually, works really fast, because I've organized so many events already, even through my entrepreneurship group that I was heading. We end up taking actually students to an entrepreneurship conference to Harvard University, which was an amazing experience. So the group,
That's huge.
the people who came to the class, to the to the field trip with us, they were so excited because they never expected to go for this. And we ended up raising money for it and taking like 10 people or 8 people, something like that. It was really, really nice. It ended up being an amazing experience. We ended up staying at other friends' apartments on, things like that, because we were in college, so we didn't have the budget for hotels or anything. We just went, stayed on the mattresses on the floor, on sofas and stuff like that. So it was amazing. But today I'm able to, make my events, on a much bigger scale and on a smaller scale happen really smoothly, because I volunteered in so many different ways. So that practical knowledge is really important, to volunteer anywhere or anything, because you never know if that's going to serve you at some point. Like I said, whether it's with a professor, whether it's something you're passionate about, whether it's just some extracurricular activity that you do,
Yep.
like you said, we are. It's so important not to get stuck in the unproductive things in college, because we all get distracted. We're not going to college just to like have fun and go out. Yes, it's important to socialize and meet friends and go out for dinner and eat nice food and cook together and maybe go out or maybe go to a park or whatever you want to do, go to a hike. All those things are great. But it's important to do other extracurricular activities, because people will remember you and you will get good internships from that, from all the extracurricular work that you put in. And then you also get really good jobs from that. So that's a really important point, actually. If you want a job in to stay on, in the US or wherever you go to college, it's so important to have other external interests apart from what you're studying. That is what they're looking for. They want interesting people who have other skills, who have other passions, who have other interests and other hobbies. If you don't have that, then you're just like anybody else in the group that they need to pick from. So it's really important to have other interests for sure.
Wonderful. As you mentioned about your organization, way well, it sounds like like way to wellness. So can you
Exactly.
share? So can you share a bit about your company and how it is creating impact among other lives?
It's amazing you said that, because that was my tagline, the way to wellness. Or your way, sorry, your way to wellness, because it's customized and personalized for individuals, or like I said, individuals, companies, brands. At the end of the day, we can curate, and we curate an experience, or we curate a wellness event, for a large scale of a company for employee engagement, or it can be a small event, like a small event for a group of individuals. Like today, we're doing a small private. Today, there's a private event going on while I'm sitting and doing this talk of group of women who've never done a sound meditation. So we're organizing that today, and it really, really, really does have a big impact on people, because what we do, it's not just generic. It's not like we have a studio and you come and we do yoga classes all day, meditation all day, all that stuff. It's not nothing like that. It is something that we feel is going to work for you. So if someone sends me an email or a message or calls me and says we want to do, we are feeling anxious, we've been feeling anxious, or we have a, some kind of, we're not feeling good mentally, you know it's so important to take care of our mental health today. That is a really, really, really important thing. It's as important as your physical well-being. I think it's more important, in fact. So if someone's feeling down and they're feeling down constantly, yes, you can eat right, you can sleep right, you can be reading a book, you could be, talking to friends, but you're still not feeling mentally well, right? Now, we are helping people like that and doing as much as we can to take care of them. So it might not, maybe a meditation will not work for this person doing a meditation course, but maybe, you know there's something that is a brand which is called which is a emotional something for emotional well-being, which is what I can help them, not prescribe them, but connect them with someone who can create something for them, which is like a remedy. It's called bark flower remedy, and actually create something for them to make them feel better emotionally. And it actually is proven to be have 100% results. It might not happen in the first week or the second week. So it's different things that create different impacts. So today, my company creates impact at all levels. It's a one-on-one impact, or it's a group, a corporate event that we do 100% workshop impact. And we really want to create much larger impact, with in this industry, in this space, of in wellness, because we feel that is a very like that providing that service, alternative services or even mainstream services in the space of wellness is really important. So we can curate a an event which could be a nutritious, nutrition thing and holistic well-being, and through the nutrition, to a big company, to a small brand, to a like I said, a one-on-one individual, in terms of what we should eat, in terms of like what to buy, in terms of like what groceries to buy, what kind of food to buy, what to cook, um, to like a fitness class, doing like a Zumba class, doing like a mobility class, to doing anything. So it can be really curated and personalized for individuals. That is what it is at the end of the day. Just personalizing the experience and getting somebody to provide exactly what the end consumer is looking for. So that is how we're creating an impact and building our community with that. Because at the end of the day, we just want to build community. We just want people to be happy and healthy and have that sense of wellness in their life and have that sense of well-being in their life, because it makes people feel good at the end of the day. And it's not something that is used every day, but we want people to take a tool back from the toolkit to do it. Like, so if you're coming from a meditation workshop, and you can't do that meditation every day, it's an hour and a half. No one has that time today, right? But maybe you learn from that meditation as a breathing technique, box breathing, where you breathe in for 4 breaths, and then you hold for 4 breaths, and you exhale for 4 breaths. That's a really, really nice one. If anybody's ever feeling anxious or stressed or overwhelmed, please try that. It really, really, really does calm your nerves like almost immediately. So things like that, it's just important to make sure we're spreading that word of how we can help people through wellness, through these different alternative or mainstream ways of being well, and that is what we do. Yeah.
Wonderful, because because there's so many pressures and so many things people are engaging themselves with. I mean, there's so many competitions, so many work pressures, so many competitions in the work and professional life.
So much social
I mean,
media, that's
yeah,
not good.
and people's time are very much limited right now. Sometimes I even feel like if I wish there would be like 72 hours per day, because there's so many things to attend, so many things to do. So the thing is that it's very important that most of the times people, they forget about their mental wellness, they forget about their well-beings. Like they always work with, they always work and they are engaged with social media, socialize with people, but most of the times they forget to take a proper sleep. The thing that you like meditation, do something for their well-being. It's very important, and the thing that you are creating awareness and you are impacting people's mental health, their wellness, is really important. I mean, like it's a very good thing to do. Like just directly impacting in their lives.
For sure.
Let's go back to you. How did you start your professional life? I mean, you were in hotel management. You were also in consulting services like with Deloitte. Can you just share a bit about how did you start your career, and when you start your career, it can be internship and professional life. What are the like the gap, if you found any gap in the beginning that you learned in your university, but in the real life, the practical life, there are some different things, there is a gap from what did you learn. So how professional practical life is different than the university life, the students, the thing that they learn, and some of the skills you developed while working uh, with those organizations.
So absolutely. It's how I started is it's very interesting. I mean, I was in the hospitality industry, as I said, uh, throughout my life, and because of college and because of my family background. And I didn't think I would be where I am today with wellness, but I've always been very passionate about it. But before that, when I was in college, I learned a lot because I pushed myself, outside my limits of learning. I decided that it was really important to uh, first of all, just get good grades and pass, and then work really hard to get an internship at the same time in what I felt was I was interested in. My first internship was operations in a hotel, at the Western Hotel in San Diego. That was really, really, really good, and I learned a lot of like front desk work. It was being face to face with the customer. I would check them in, or help them with, do some marketing for them, help them with checkouts, help them with calls, help them see, I guess, get that hotel out more on social media. How do we get more customers in? But it was a very busy as it was. So operations wise is what I learned. Okay, that was fully, I said, I don't know what I want to do, but I want to try to do a operations focused role here. So that was the first. The second internship, I really, really worked harder. I'd done the basic one. You have to start somewhere. So you have to do a basic internship first. So my basic one was to work with this hotel and do operations over there. It's not something that's glamorous. A lot of other people were doing other things like working in a bank or working on doing some finance thing or doing some marketing role at some really nice fancy company. But because my interest was here, this is where I had to start. I had to start at the bottom. The second internship was a sales and marketing role, but mostly sales and business development at the Four Seasons at their global offices in Chicago, and that was very good as well. Now I didn't know again what to expect over here because I've not done a marketing role. Yes, you study it in college, you study marketing, you study how to market, but this was a sales role, so we didn't really study sales. And a lot of people think marketing and sales are the same thing. It is completely different. Marketing is, so the social media, there's different types of marketing. The social media, there's face-to-face, word of mouth, there's traditional marketing, there's digital marketing. It's totally different, right? There's a totally different business on its own. And sales can be like, converting those leads into customers at the end of the day. How do you do that? Yes, via marketing, but via what else? Creating relationships, meeting people, meeting different groups, and then selling your property or your group retreat to them. So I worked at Four Seasons, and mine was very purely sales role in business development, and the idea was to close a group to for them to come and do their offsite retreats at the Four Seasons hotels across the whole world. So my project was to learn and then to bring a group to come and do this. And it was very difficult because, like I said, in one thing I learned in college was marketing and how do I market my brand. What is the best way? How do we how do we build brand loyalty? How do we build brand presence? How do we make a catchy name and good logo and good, a good, something that is not a tongue twister? What is the mission statement? What is the vision statement? All those things are marketing. Now that is not what I had prepared for to go into a sales position. But because I learned in my first internship that I was a people's person, and I was always with people. I always knew how to blow out fires. There's any issue with the customer, anybody yelling and screaming upset about something was late, something didn't work out for them, I was able to completely help them blow off steam, give them something for free, do something for them, be nice to them, kill them with kindness, because that is what I learned in my internship first. I did not learn this in college. I did not learn how to talk to somebody, a client, a customer in college. You don't learn that in that sense, in your education, but practically you learn it, right? When I went to college and I was doing volunteer work for my entrepreneurship program, I learned to build relationships there. I learned how to communicate over there. So that was all then transferable to the sales internship that I had done at Four Seasons. So it was not easy. It was not like, okay, you learn something in college, now you can just you do it over here in your internship. It never happened like that. So yes, practical knowledge is completely different. And that was a great internship. Now when I got my first job, I ended up graduating, and before I graduated, I made sure I had a job before graduation because I don't want to be a graduate without a job. because everybody is very competitive in my college, or any college rather.
Yes.
Everybody's competitive. You want to make sure you have a job, you want to make sure you have a good salary, you want to make sure you're in a good place. You want to make sure people are going to be in the same city as you. You're growing up, it's your first job. There's no more school anymore, it's no more education. It's all practical knowledge now. You need to make money for yourself, you need to be out there in the real world. So I worked really hard for my internship. I could not convert my internships into jobs, unfortunately, but that is what people want to do at the end of the day. That's why by the time their last internship comes, they try to convert that internship into a job. That is what they try to do, and I would recommend doing that as well, because then you're set, you're sorted for the whole senior year. You're sorted, and you know where you're going to work. But I mean, that doesn't mean you fail your classes. But I worked really hard to find a job that would sponsor me, because I didn't have a visa. So that was another complication, another challenge into my getting a job. And I worked really hard. I studied a lot, and then I ended up meeting somebody at a networking fair or a job fair. And I said that, I'm gonna apply to this job. It looks like a really good job. And it was a consulting role with Deloitte. And I said, this is great. I'm gonna actually sit here and try my best to actually get a job with you guys. But Deloitte's a big company, they can hire whoever they want. Why would they want to hire someone who needs a sponsorship? So I
Yeah.
had to make myself very, very unique also, and very different, and stand out from all my classmates. And so, the work that I had done in my entrepreneurship group, or the other volunteer groups, or the other interests that I had, or just the conversation I had in my interview, actually made a huge difference to getting the job, to be honest with you. And when I did get the job, again, it was nothing like I expected. You just have to roll with the punches, you have to go with the flow, you kind of learn on the job. At the end of the day, you don't learn in the classroom. It's the only thing that was transferable here was my people skills, and the things that I learned in my volunteer work. It was not anything that I learned in school as such. Yes, you learn a couple of things in terms of understanding brands, and understanding which brands are run by which people. You learn those things in college. Who are the bigger brands, which brands would you want to work with, how does it work, how do they have that brand positioning, how does a balance sheet work in terms of finance. You learn all those things, but you learn the basics of things, but you don't learn actually what you're getting in a job. You will never know in a classroom. You'll only learn on the job. You have to have the skills to learn on that job. So if you don't have the skills to learn on the job, then and if they don't see that potential in you, then you're not going to get that job. You're not going to get the job that you want or that you apply for. And I applied to a lot of jobs. I probably applied to like 7 8 jobs for after graduation, or maybe 10 jobs. And I got interviewed by maybe 6, and then out of which I maybe got 3 positions or 2 positions. And I ended up choosing the consulting role, because that's where I felt the most comfortable. That's where I was the most excited. That's where I felt my passion was. And again, because a lot of the volunteer work I had done could be transferred to the job that I had, to the Deloitte job, to consulting, to understanding the hotels, to understanding the customer experience at the hotels and evaluating them. That is what I ended up doing. So, you have to have the skills, otherwise it's very difficult to learn on the job as well.
Wonderful. Very nicely portrayed. I mean, it's like, like I was mesmerized and I was listening to it, the journey that you have shared. So, we are kind of at the end of our session, but before that, I would like to ask 2 questions. Uh, do you have any mentor, or did you have any mentor? Who is your role model? And the last one is, can you share some skills that university students should develop today? To, like so that after graduation they can start their career early. So because you have learned a lot and you are seeing a lot of things in your line of work. So like there are some uses of different skill sets today that it was not that much important maybe years ago. So can you
Yeah.
suggest some skills at least students they should develop before graduation?
So having a mentor or a role model is very important, if especially in your line of work. My mentors and role models kind of changed a lot over the years, but I will tell you that there was, for me in college, one of my professors was a role model for me, because he was not only, not only very intelligent and taught the class extremely well, but he had a lot of practical knowledge. So if tomorrow I actually had a couple of questions with my family business, and I said, oh, I thought I'll just go come to you and talk to you about this, because he had real life knowledge. Like when he was not teaching us and we had summer holiday or winter holiday or whatever holiday, he actually had clients, like real clients, in the exact space he was teaching in what his profession was. And this was in real estate, so he was a really amazing teacher in real estate, and he had actually been to India as well. He understood the market. So he ended up being a very important mentor for me, because I loved that he wasn't just teaching us, he wasn't just a passionate teacher and a passionate professor and telling us, this is how you do things, this is how you need to follow, what you need to check, these are the numbers you need to follow, this is the kind of the technique to evaluate something, assess market or building or whatever it was. If you're trying to build something in the future, all that was important. Now, I don't do I really remember all those techniques and all that mathematics? Not really. I don't really remember it. I can go back in time and go back to my notes and actually find something, yes, but I don't exactly remember too much about it. But he was really, really, really important in my life, because I realized he was doing everything practically as well. He was done with, maybe when he was done with his classes, he would actually have clients every day, and he'd be consulting and he'd be working and he wrote books and he was so worldly. And I think that was one thing that I realized, that it's important not to only have what that taught me was that it's important not to only have one route. Okay, I go to my job and I come home and I sleep and I eat. That is not the end. That is not your life. You know, he was my mentor because he was doing multiple different things. He was on projects, he was consulting, he was writing books. He was already famous, but that was because he was in the industry. He would go to conferences, he would keep up with the rules and the regulations of policies all over. He would teach us. He had a lot of a lot of wealth of knowledge, and was constantly keeping up with it. So that was really, really important. So it wasn't that he was doing one thing, teaching us, going home, being with his family, eating and sleeping. That is not what he did. He did multiple different things. He had multiple avenues of work. And that was important to me. That opened my eyes out that today, if I'm doing wellness, my wellness journey, I don't have to only do one offering and offer it only to a group of individuals and building a community. I can offer it to corporates. I can offer it to company retreats. I can offer it to brands. I can offer it to individuals. I can offer it to communities. I can do different things. I can associate myself with multiple different brands and companies today, and do projects with them and do retreats with them and do different things with them. And then I can also do something else. I can also work with my family business. I can also maybe read a bunch of things and keep up with things and look for opportunities at a conference that I might attend. So it's important to always have more than one avenue, and that's why I learned through my professor. And I think it's important because one thing might fail for you. Maybe you want to start a business, it doesn't go well, you have something else to lean on. Or you want to start a business and you're working for a big company tomorrow. You're working for a Hindustan Unilever. You're working for a Mercedes Benz. You're working for a Deloitte. Whoever you're working for tomorrow, you don't only want to work for them maybe for the rest of your life. Maybe you want to start something of your own. Maybe it'll be a small business. Maybe you want to cook and you love cooking. That can be your side hustle. So I think that's what that taught me. And then another role model that I follow constantly would be like a Jay Shetty or like a Joe Dispenza. They're world famous today, and They just help people. They put podcasts out. They have books. They done so much research in the space of wellness. They study the human brain, and they tell you exactly what is going on in your brain and your body when you're in touch with a stressor, or you're in touch with, like, you come in contact with something that's going on in your life that's not very pleasant. How do we manage that at the end of the day? How do we manage our emotions at the end of the day? And it's just very motivating. So those are people I follow, and it helps me because I need my own wellness journey too. I can't only provide. And then something that I feel like is a skill for college students today. It's just so important to do everything, try everything, put your hand into everything. I think today I still try a lot of different things and different avenues because I feel like I'm still young, and I can still be flexible mentally and say, oh, I tried this, it didn't work out, or I tried that, I didn't like it, or I tried to understand something, it didn't happen for me. So it's important to fail now and fail fast. A lot of entrepreneurs say that today try something, you want to take that leap, you want to take that jump into that company, or into that small business you want to start. Do it now. Try it now. Why wait 10 years? Why wait 5 years? You can put a small investment also. You don't need a big investment. You can start small. That's one thing. I think it's really important to start now, or start the research now. Don't start the business. Start the research for what you want to do now. Start talking to people and networking with people who are in that space of what your passion is now, today. If you want to sit and have conversations with people who you don't know, make those new friends, make those new connections today. Again, don't wait till you graduate, till you have a job, till you're like 1 year into your job, till you decide, oh, now I'm done with my job. 2 3 years down the line, I want to do my own business. Today I'll start. It doesn't work like that. There are people that you meet in your college, there are people that you meet through LinkedIn, through professional networking, through professional groups. I've joined so many networking groups, and I'm constantly going for like networking events and social events because that helps me put my brand out there, and I get to talk about my company. I get to talk about me and what I do. Tomorrow I might meet somebody who wants to give me a huge project, so you never know where your next big project or big paycheck is coming from. And you never know, you could be the next big company, the next big Amazon, who knows, right? So today we need to be really open minded as we are younger, because we can adapt, we are flexible, we will learn a lot from the challenges that we have, we will fail, and we will learn from it, and we are more resilient to failing and to doing something wrong. Today you might take there's two paths. You might take this path and then realize, oh shit, the other path was more important, so maybe you go back down here and then you come back here and on this path, and that's okay. Why can't you do that? You can do it today, you may not be able to do it tomorrow, and you might say, oh, I've invested so much into this already, my time, my energy, money. So that's why it's important to do it today and learn from where you are, because we are a lot more adaptable as we are younger. We are a lot more resilient. We are a lot more quicker. We can learn more. We have the capacity to focus more. Tomorrow, you also might be married and have kids. So it's very difficult to also have a family and do make a lot of changes to your company life and to your life at that point. You're going to leave a job to do something. So I think it's important to network. It's important to build your skills today, reach out, branch out, meet somebody new, go introduce yourself to somebody new and find out what they want to do. I mean, you never know where that experience can take you.
Wow, wonderful. I mean, yeah, you have a lot of rich experiences that through your like conversation, through your like experience sharing, we have learned a lot. So, Alekha, thank you so much. It has been a very insightful session, and learnings what to do, what not to do, and through your professional lessons learned. I think that our audience, they're going to learn a lot. It's like an awareness session for them. Uh,
Like,
so thank you so much on behalf of School of Entrepreneurship Development. Uh, uh, I wish you very best of luck, and
thank you so much. It was really lovely being here. So good luck to all of you guys. I think that We just need to put the right foot forward. And like I said, even if you take two steps back after that, it's okay. You're still young. You're still flexible. And like a lot of people have said, you need to fail and fail fast so you can take the other route and do something different, because that you'll never know. If you didn't take that decision, you will never know. So it's better to actually know, even if it doesn't work out for you, even if that job doesn't work out or that route doesn't work out. So thank you so much for having me. And it's been lovely. It's been lovely chatting with you. And I really wish all of you guys the best of luck. And you can message me on LinkedIn if you have any specific questions. I'm honestly happy
Yeah.
to respond on that. And yeah, my name is Alekha Advani. You can find it on LinkedIn. And look forward to seeing this video, and I really hope it helps. I hope you take back even one thing from this chat. And yes, wishing you the best of
Definitely.
luck. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you. You as well. Thank you.